Hey everybody, welcome to Making a Graphic Novel with Alicia Dianne Art. I'm Alicia Dianne and we're going to be continuing on in Jaydi's story. We're going to be going back to watercolor today. Last time we were on last week, I was experimenting with iPad just to kind of see what would happen. I had some new brushes and it did not go as I planned. It did not go as I was hoping it would. So I'm just going to scratch that out altogether and I'm going to go back to watercolors, what works for this particular series and what I think Jaydi is calling for, which I am totally cool with and happy to get back to. So we're going to be working in watercolors today. I'm on spread number 20, so I'm going to go ahead and switch our cameras over to the iPad on the desk and we're going to start painting, okay? So let me go ahead and go on over there. Alright, I'm going to swap over my mic. Okay, perfect. So now, let's get our camera where we'd like. Alright. So here we are. Excuse me. Alright, so I just barely started like some of the newer just some of the background art, so I haven't done a whole lot with this spread just yet. Excuse me. But I'm just going to try and pick up and find the colors that I need for my background. So give me just a second. I'm going to refer back to some of the pages that I've already done, just to kind of get a hint. And we're going to keep moving. Alright, so let us see. I'm going to actually use a different color. So let's see what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to try and find the right colors to plug in to our background over here. I'm using two different palettes. They're both from Koi, and I also have a third one that I kind of just keep around just in case. I feel like I haven't live streamed in forever because I had to cut a few short last week, or I had to like cancel a few. But back this week and hoping to just kind of pick back up where we left off and get into the groove of things. I won't be on this Friday because it's my son's birthday, so I'll be doing that. There's been a lot going on. I actually had a performance this past weekend, and that was a big reason why I was out last week, because we were learning a whole new routine and it was all a lot of practice. It was so much and I was exhausted, so I just didn't have the energy to do much more than just the rehearsals that we had, unfortunately. But I hope to just kind of pick back up. This color looks already super similar to the one I have, so maybe I'll switch up second coat. I'm not sure yet. I know I have it already as a close color, and in the first book I just have it kind of like, because it's so early in the morning, I just did like a bright yellow just to just kind of represent the sun for everything. But in this version it's already at night, so I want to try and play with it a little bit. So maybe I'll use a different color to do the second coat, I think. And I added a rug in here because I noticed that In my first book, I just did it a little bit too plain. I just had it like very simple. I didn't go into a whole lot. I just hadn't really thought through as much the background for like the main living area. So now I want to make sure that I incorporate some, just making it feel more lived in. That's something to incorporate, and that's also something that I wanted to start taping as well, was just like kind of getting into a visual development, sort of a like concept thinking of, because I feel like that's really important, not just for animation, but also when you're doing telling your own stories and doing comics or even children's books. You want to kind of think through the backgrounds and make it feel more like the characters actually, you know, exist in this place. So that's just, it's another level or another layer of thinking through things, trying to make things feel more believable, and adding some charm, because you don't want it to be, you don't want any part of your story to be dull, and even the backgrounds play a part in that. So that's just something I've been thinking through more and more lately, especially as I get into these different scenes here in Jaydi's story too. A lot of the elements just come from different places. So let's see, I don't remember what color I used. That's the thing too, I have to try and remember. Since it's been over a month since I've been painting a series, I really have to try and recall everything that I've done. Because I started using this new color palette more and more, so I want to make sure I don't forget what I'm using for what. I think I used this color for the cabinet. Not entirely sure. It looks really dark. I think it might be the one shade lighter. It'll all come back to me, I know it, but it just takes takes a minute sometimes to get back in the groove of things. Just for me anyway, for sure. Yeah, this feels like the right color. Alright, so it's also smart too, if you're using certain colors for certain things, and it's something that you have to, you know, color, even if it's digital, if you have to color more than once, it's good to kind of keep a note of what colors to use for things. If it's digital, then it's even, then, you know, you can just put the color number in there, like all of those colors have a number, and if you open up Photoshop, or if you open up Procreate or any one of those programs, you'll see that number there. So I think I need to keep more track. I have like certain things, all of the things I put in book 1, like main character colors and all of that, but I do not have any sort of reference for what is it? And I also need to add in certain things, because in these windows, for the new items, and then I have to think too about, okay, well, certain windows have certain types of shapes in them, so I need to incorporate that. Like this isn't just a plain window, I have it in these circles. If you've ever been to like an African country, I haven't been to an African country, but I've seen them in pictures, and I think African descended countries too have these, because whenever I went to Barbados, I've been there many times, they always have these sort of block, like they're like cement block windows with just cutouts in them. So that's the concept behind the windows in Jaydi's house. So I wanted to incorporate that, because it did remind me a lot of like all the times that I visited in Barbados, and I wanted I wanted it to be there, you know. And I see them in all the photos when I look in Kenya and different places in Africa, different countries. So I really wanted to incorporate that. And I'm trying to find a number. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. 155. So you guys have to help me to remember to like what numbers these are. Some of these I think also I'll have to, it'll take me a minute to get some of these and really remember them. I don't know why I even doubted doing it in watercolor. I think I was just so tired that I couldn't think about it. And it should be 4, not 3. It should be 4 going up. But I think I just needed the break because my brain was overwhelmed. For whatever reason, it was just too much. So I needed to take a break. I think that can happen if you're doing a long-term project. There might be times where your brain just shuts down on you, because I think that's what happened to me. Like, I just didn't have the energy for it anymore. And I don't even know why. It's not like I don't love the series, but it's just, I think it was just a lot at the moment. But now even last week I was still kind of, I was kind of like, I had to pull myself. And I think a little bit today when I know I was prepping everything, I was ready, but I felt a bit anxious still. But now that I'm starting, and once I, really like sat down, alright, this is going to be my schedule this month for my books, and I'll put it out there just so that you can keep me on track. I'll have accountability. This is spread number 20. I want to complete spread 28 by June 28th. Okay, so that's my goal. By June 28th, I want to complete spreads 20 through 28. So I'm giving myself basically the rest of this month to finish those. So including this one, it would be 8 spreads altogether. That's 16 illustrations. Drawings already done. You just have to print them out, color them. And I believe I can do it. I just have to keep myself accountable. That's the biggest thing. And I think I've been learning a lot about accountability lately, and having to have some talks with my son about it lately, because he's still a first year college student, and he's realizing that it's definitely a different environment than college, and he's having a really hard, not college, it's a different environment than high school. So he's really trying to adjust, and it's not easy. And I can totally understand, because especially with his unique situation, it's not the same. So I think we have to just all, at some point, we have to learn how to keep ourselves accountable. And I don't know if it's the same for everybody. I don't think everybody has the same struggle or the same things to keep themselves motivated even. I think sometimes for each of us, we might have different strengths and different weaknesses when it comes to self-discipline and motivation. So in a sense, we have to find out what our own individual, not just learning style, but how to keep ourselves responsible, really. I'm gonna start out with this color for behind her, and then I'll go a little bit darker. But I want to start out lighter. And then get darker. I think that will work. because trying to go in the reverse from darker to lighter is not always a proven method when it comes to watercolor. So I think I'm going to go this route for this. But yeah, our performance was really awesome. It's one of those things where it's like, I've been doing it now, like dance for a while. Feels like a while anyway. Been doing this belly dance stuff for about 7 years off and on. But I started dancing when I was 13, just like Caribbean dance. That was my jam. And then I always had the interest for belly dance. I always feel like it's something to, it's good to have something other than your main creative outlet. I enjoy a lot of things. I enjoy stop motion. I did those few episodes of Good Girl Princess. I don't know if any of you have watched it. I had a blast making those. I always think back if I want to finish it, which I feel like it would be a good thing, but I feel like it's just not priority for me right now, especially with this series that I really want to get done. But I have about, I think there's 5 or 6 episodes, and I felt like I said kind of what I needed to say. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm not sure if I'll make any episodes. I just really wanted to experiment and make some experimental film. And I absolutely did that. So, if you're ever interested, it's on my channel. You can watch that Good Girl Princess series. And I had such a good time making it. That was probably the most really like placed me in the filmmaking mindset, because I was just trying to think of everything. It was acting, it was music. I sang in one of the episodes as Chelsea Ferial's boss. It was just such a good experience in experimentation, and I would just recommend that anybody who's interested in doing something creatively, that you just give it a try. I know that I always knew that I loved like puppets, but I didn't know that I would like stop motion until we had to experiment with it in an animation class I was taking, and I was like, what? I didn't think I was even gonna like it, but I loved it. I thought it was so fun. It takes off a lot of a couple of extra hours from drawing everything. Not that it's a fast process at all, but it is a faster process than hand drawn. So I enjoyed that. I watched a documentary just this past weekend. Actually, it was last weekend. On Jim Henson. I always loved his stuff. Like, I always loved his work. And I mean, like, beyond the Sesame Street. Beyond that, like, Labyrinth is one of my favorite movies. I didn't even realize how involved he was, but I knew he did the puppets, but I didn't realize it was his movie. It's his movie. And I always loved that movie. And I've always been slightly obsessed with Dark Crystal, just like the aesthetic, the style. I just always loved it so much. And even more, let me see, like Muppet movies, obviously I don't know if everyone loves them, but I've always been a fan. So I always loved what he did. I didn't realize how much of an artist he was, though. And not until I went to the Georgia Puppet Museum. They have a puppet museum in Atlanta, and I know I talked about this on this channel before. They have a whole exhibit that's dedicated to Jim Henson, and they showed his drawings, and I was shocked. I was blown away. He was an amazing artist, like amazing, like, you know, really good. And I wasn't expecting to see it on that level, because I just didn't know to the extent of what he did. And after I saw that exhibit, I was like, man, I felt more connected to him, because as like, you know, as an inspiration, you know, like how I would say I feel connected to Glen Keane or Jen Cam, like I feel like what they do is what I aspire to do. So when I saw like the full scope of Jim Henson, I was just like, wow, he is really like the type of artist I want to be, or the type of artist I aspire to become, because I've always been interested in reincorporating the puppetry somehow. I don't know if it's like stop motion again or something, but I just have this interest in it. And I don't know when it will actually come to be or when it will actually come into fruition, but at some point or another, I know that I will do either another stop motion series or some sort of puppet series, because I find that medium so fun and so freeing. Like, if you're an introverted person, if you never like had a puppet on your hand, it's like wild. It's so fun to me. I think it's like, I don't know, you feel like you can, all of a sudden all of your acting genes come out like immediately. All of a sudden I feel like, you know, like a cast member of SNL or something. Like, all of a sudden you just feel empowered to just take on a completely different character, and I think that is so freeing and fun, and I definitely want to experiment with that more. I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like at some point, hopefully I'll manifest that. I don't know how, like I said, but I would love to play around with that more and see where that goes. After the series though, I really want to get this series out in the world. I'm really excited about it. I wrote a new bio. I was playing around with bio, and I had a bio written, and I want to be completely clear and open. I was playing with Chat GPT for the writing of the bio, like to reword it, because I already had written it, but I wanted to like, maybe I can find some words that are more fun and exciting to really say what I wanted to say, but maybe I don't have the right words to express that. So I played around with Chat GPT, and if you're not familiar with it, it is an AI software. I know we all don't like AI software, but it's coming and there's nothing we can do about it. Obviously, I'm still here making my drawings and my art with my bare hands. But I had some, you know, I was impressed with some of these suggestions, and I did take some of the suggestions and I reworded it so it felt, you know, like I put in the bio that I wrote. It gave me like some suggestions, and I took those and played around with it, and I have a whole new bio that I really enjoy now, that I really am excited about, I should say. So I will be sharing that with you guys. If not in this video, probably in the coming videos. So I'm excited to share what that's like, and we'll see what happens. All right. I didn't incorporate the rug on this one, so it should be coming in right here. So there's a second rug in this room. Where should it go? It should go be past the crib. Alright. And let's see. And here should be coming in this way, the rug. Alright, so I wanted to make sure I added that. And I want to make sure that I'm including these. I'm adding like little things like cracks in the walls and stuff like that, just to give it more character. Because just talking about background, this is one of the things I'm talking about, is just adding things like cracks in the wall and different types of art or pictures that the characters might have in their house. Just trying to make it feel more authentic and like how their house would actually be. I mean, they're very much, I intend for this family is, they're a poor family, and so I want to find ways to show that, you know. That's why also in this series I've changed my main character a little bit in her clothing to just make the fringes of her sleeve tattered, and the fringes of her kanga, which is the wrap she wears, that's tattered on the ends, and her jeans. So just to give it that more of like understanding who this character is. Like, she isn't living an easy lifestyle, especially right now when her parents are gone, and you know, the main source of incomes are not even existing. She's barely getting by, just by the fact that they have this goat that produces milk that they can sell. And it's very, you know, obviously goats, just like cows, only produce milk when they have a baby. So, you know, that also limits how much they can earn, you know, because it's gonna have to depend on when the goat can have offspring. So it's complicated, but not so much that it's not understandable. Like, this is the limited income that they have right now, and it's barely just a year after, so their funds are running very low. So I'm just trying to get these things across visually without having to explain everything. So hopefully that's something that you can also incorporate whenever you're telling a story. Like, how can you tell your audience that my character struggles with money without saying, hey, my character is struggling with money? Like, you have to find different ways to just show that. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's just kind of show that. I didn't want the characters to come from any sort of a high background. I feel like so many characters obviously come from high backgrounds. They literally, they're royalty, you know, they have the most money. But I wanted to show a main character that's, you know, completely poor. And what does that look like? What is that like? And there are different characters, and not all of them are going to have the same economic situation. Like, even my villains, my villains have a lot of money. And but even the new Governor Amancho, who's coming in, who's like the town, he's more like an overseer than a governor. Everybody just calls him governor though. But he is like, you know, he's well off, he's paid, you know, he has money, but he's a good guy. You know, some people will have money and they're good, and some people have money and they're bad, and some people don't have money and they're good, and some people don't have money and they're bad. So I have all four of those in this story. Particularly, you really see it in this book. Not so much the rich. I don't think there's any really, or not much portrayal of rich. Governor Amancha does have a little bit of an appearance soon coming up, but mostly you're gonna see that dynamic between the good poor and like bad poor, and how people, just because they come from the background, doesn't necessarily mean that they're one thing or the other. I wanted to have like layered characters so that, you know, people are looking at this and saying, all right, well, these are all people that are, and they're all the same. And like, no, they're all very, very different. So that's one of the things that I hope to achieve in this series, is just dynamic characters that are flawed and complicated. So I hope to achieve that in this series. I believe I have. I believe I have in the writing, and I just hope to, you know, really portray that in a way that honors what I've been trying to do. Alright, so let's keep moving. Some of these things I have to pick the color for, as I haven't picked the color yet. Let's see. 149, I think I can use that color. And they're not even in order on the palette. Like, the numbers for the palette are not in order, so I'll have to figure it out. So I'll use that over here. This cloth that's kind of hanging up is like drapery. Maybe there's an extra window here. That might make sense. Alright, and BB. BB wears... what kind of colors would she wear for her drapes? Let's see. I'll use 21. I think that would be one of the colors she wears. These are like all BBs. Like, I want to say like just kind of like a wrap she wears. Let's see. Instead of like a sweater, she just wears like little wraps. Definitely more like a muddier color too. Let's see, 230. Or like a darker color. Oh, that's almost black. Don't want it to be black. I want it to just be kind of a muddy. Maybe I'll do the second color in a different color just to give it a little bit more life. You know, BB is super conservative. So I also have like the characters that are more conservative and the ones that are more outgoing. I have the traditional ones. So it's hopefully a lot of variety in the types of characters that you're going to be seeing in this series, especially I think in this book. Like you're going to be introduced to a character who is really a crappy person, and you guys are going to hate him. Like, I'm not lying. You're going to absolutely hate his guts because he's a terrible person. And I think a few of these guys I based loosely off of people that I used to know. And some of them are like combinations. I think most of them are like real people from my own life. One of these is like a combination of like my high school best friend's dad and my mom's ex-boyfriend. And that's the combination. It's like there's something like those two guys, and this guy is just total jerk. You'll see. When you read it, you'll see you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And I'm going to intentionally leave off, I think, at least the last 10 pages. At least the last 10 pages. When I start getting to those, I'm not going to live stream them, because what's the point? You want to have surprise. And so I'm not going to be live streaming those, but you'll be able to read it. Alrighty, so let's see, you're getting in there. It's a very slow burn when you're trying to fill in all the colors. Like, the second layer is a lot easier than just trying to figure out, like, especially a new background, like, alright, what color is this, what color is that? There's a lot of that going on. Okay, I think I use this color for the rug in Jaydi's room. It's like a mustard color. And Jaydi and her brother share a room. And let's see. Bibi kind of has her own room, but I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate that because it's a tiny little house. Like, do they really have an extra room? I'm still debating how I want to incorporate that. I feel like my initial thought is that Bibi does have her own room. They just don't have an inside. They don't have an inside kitchen. They do all the cooking outside, so perhaps that can work. Perhaps that can be like they have two main rooms, a living room, and that's it. They don't have an inside restroom either. I found out too, like when I was doing my research for my paper in grad school, I did a lot of studying on just like different neighborhoods and like just African culture, African history, colonization, everything. And one of the things I learned about what would be the correct term, it's slipping my brain for some reason. It's right there, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time remembering the word I'm trying to use. Alright, so like in basically like a slum type of neighborhood, like a major slum, they like people don't have like a regular restroom in their house in most cases. Especially in Kibera, which was the one I was looking at. They said there's like one toilet for like every 1,000 people, which is crazy, but this is a real thing. So I'm like, alright, well, people don't have a regular restroom in their house. It's like some of the things that we take for granted that we don't realize are like, these are luxuries that we have, but we don't necessarily realize that most of the time. Okay, so in the living room, I'm going to put, let's see, kind of like this color, 176. I'm going to try this 176 for the rug. That's almost like the same color I use. Alright, I'm seeing which colors are the same from this newer palette I have and that I already have in my tube paint. So good, I'm glad that some of them are the same colors I wanted them to be, but I'm just having to figure out like which ones are what, because I can't tell. I even have like, I painted out the palette and everything, but I still have to learn which ones are what, because one goes by the number and the other one goes by name. I'll have to check though if there's numbers on my tube paint. I don't think so. I think it's just, oh, there are. Let's see if that one has a number. Let's see. It's not the same number though. It's not the same number, but I think it is the same color. They probably just number it differently because it's a different type of paint. One is pan and one is tube, but they're both watercolor, so to me it makes more sense to just put them as the same name, but oh well. Alright, so let's see what else in the background needs to be colored. Need to get to this bed at some point, so I'm going to go ahead and add that. And that one is, what is orangey color? It's good to have a couple of things that kind of pop. I might not even need to add a second coat on here because it's so vibrant. I just reloaded my whole palette, and let's see, I'll just drag that over. So I might not even need a second coat right here. That one is like super heavy on pigment already. I refilled my whole paint palette, so it's all pretty vibrant at the moment. And that's gonna take forever to dry, so maybe I'll bring the fan over and let that start drying. And I'll just have to be aware of the parts that are wet so they don't intersect because they'll bleed through. And I'll just be very careful over here, not get it in there. I'm so excited to start painting again. I think I just needed that break because I'm really happy. I'm excited about this. I think especially like the story with the new bio and everything, I'm so excited about it. So excited. Okay. Very nice, very nice. Why does this have a speck there? Alright, a lot of drawing to do, Okay, let me see which parts I can still paint. I think I can come back over here and start with the floor a little bit. I think I'll use 192 for the floor. Let me try that one. So I want it to be not exactly the same as the wall. I think I do like this color. So I have to remind myself 192 is her floor color. Alright. Just gotta water it down enough. That's way too much pigment right here. Way too much. There we go. I'm seriously so excited for you guys to read this book. I'm really, even more than the first one, I'm excited for the second one. Because the story is just I feel like in the first one, you don't, it's a really introduction into the world. Like, all right, what, like, what's happening? It's kind of a nice, like, setup for everything else. But you really don't get into the story just yet. It's kind of like, all right, this is what Jaydi's working with. That's basically like the first one. This is what we're working with here. It's like it sets the tone, I think, which is good, which is needed. Like it's needed. This one is just like really drama filled, and really like it's more. There's more setting up because it's a complex story, and it's like a telenovela kind of. I feel like this series is kind of telenovela-esque, like in some ways. Like, I've never watched a telenovela, but it's what I imagine a telenovela is like. I've seen soap operas, and those of you who are from my millennial area will remember, like, Passions. It's not like Passions, but it's giving a little bit of those vibes. It's like, what? Because it has the folklore in there, and that's what it's like. You know, they had the one, like, crazy witch lady, and I don't know, she was always hanging with this dwarf, so there's a little bit of that inside, and just, like, the kind of drama of any soap opera. So, I don't know, I imagine that that's what a telenovela is like. It's like the combination of, like, the wackiness of Passions with, like, the drama of any other soap opera. But I'm really excited for it, I'll say that. I can't wait. And I'm gonna be premiering this book at I'm premiering it at LA Comic Con. So if you haven't, you know, ever been to LA Comic Con, I haven't. It's gonna be my first time being there. So, you know, come and meet me, come and join me. It's gonna be fun launch. I will be kicking off there. And I'll also be having it on Kickstarter, maybe at the same time. Who knows? Who knows? Oh crap! It bled. I didn't wait long enough. It's the color of the floor. Try and get past it now. The awesome thing about watercolor, once you learn it, you can erase. While it's still wet, it gives you like a tiny window for erasing, which is good. Tiny windows are good. Tiny windows are better than no windows. I'll say that. I'll recolor this background, make it more vibrant. I think I only added one coat. I don't know, I might have added two, but I'm adding another one anyway. Just because I feel like it can use another coat. I was at LA Zoo last week with some of my meetup members, and some ladies that were really awesome. I don't even know if ladies is the right term because they're, you know, very young ladies. Like they just graduated art school and they moved to LA from Orange County, and they were super nice and sweet to talk to. And one of them was so funny. She kept on like using the word like giving, like this is giving, like that is giving, and she's talking about all the animals and what they're giving. And it's kind of been stuck in my head since then. Like definitely Gen Z. I'm a old millennial, but it was fun hearing them, and now like I'm thinking of ways like, all right, this comic number 2 is giving. It's giving telenovela. So I've been thinking in those terms like ever since. So it's not me trying to sound young, I just have it in my head now. It's like stuck in my head. Alright, let's see, is there anything else I can add before we wrap up? I think I will give this, let's see. I think I'll give this tapestry a second coat. I think that would be smart. And if you are on my meetup, I've changed my zoo drawing now, so I know I have to keep on organizing it to a way that kind of works with the rest of my schedule. So that's basically what I try to do. So until further notice, I'm just going to be meeting the first Monday of the month. So first Monday of the month, I'll be drawing at LA Zoo, and we're meeting at the Flamingos every time. The theme will still kind of rotate, so we're doing different animals each time and not the same ones. But for now, it's first Monday of the month, meeting by the Flamingos, just so I let my meetup people know what's going on. And if you are interested in the meetup, most of the workshops are live stream. So even if you're not in LA, you can still sign up on the meetup and you'll know like all of the new live streams that I'm going to be having. Like I said a few minutes ago, I didn't announce it formally, but I'm going to be starting a new live stream for visual development portfolio. So you'll get all of the information on that if you sign up on the meetup. And that'll tell you when all the live streams are happening so you can watch it live. And obviously, if you subscribe, and hopefully you do, you'll get the notification after it's posted to YouTube. It's just like 2 hours later that it'll actually be like posted to YouTube. They're first on Facebook Live, just as an FYI. And let's see. 192. Is that what I used for the 4? I have to check. Okay, and we are going to be wrapping up in just a moment. Just adding on my last little bits of detail, and I'll let this dry. Let's see. Alright, I think that is good. And I'm actually going to paint the doors a separate color because I made them like the same color I'm already using for the skin tone. So I'm going to change that second coat up just a bit so that it's a different color for the door. So I'll make it a little bit probably darker so it will contrast. But we're going to be wrapping up for right now, so let's switch cameras. Oh, camera 8. There we go. Alright, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining for Making a Graphic Novel. I'm really excited about the series and to be sharing it with you all at LA Comic Con this year. So I look forward to seeing you then, and I will also be back a little later on with our book club. So book club coming up, and I'm doing this studying the masters early this week because, like I said, my son's birthday is Friday, so I'll be doing that on Wednesday. Okay, so I will see you guys very, very soon. Until I see you again, be grateful, live balanced, be yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.